So you're thinking about buying or selling a home in the Germantown neighborhood of Louisville, Kentucky. In this video, we're going to talk about the real pros and cons of this eclectic gem.
That's right, from its archetypical shotgun houses, unique restaurants, and bustling nightlife to the things you might not like so much. We're straight shooters, and we're going to tell you the good and the bad.
Hey there, everyone. My name is Zach Fry.
And hey, I'm Beth Geyser. Stick around. We're going to tell you everything you need to know to feel confident about your decision. We just want to take a moment to thank you for being here. By watching this, you're taking smart steps towards being an informed buyer or seller. And that's exactly the type of person we'd love to work with.
If you're thinking about making a move to or within Louisville, Kentucky, please subscribe and hit the bell below for notifications so you can stay up to date on what it's really like to live here.
For over 2 decades, we've helped thousands of people just like you. So whether you're moving in 9 months or 9 days, feel free to reach out. All of our contact information is in the description box below. We'd love to help you make your move.
Ready to learn about what it's like to live in Germantown? Let's get into it.
All right.
It's a neighborhood that's 3 miles southeast of downtown Louisville. Found on the south side by Eastern Parkway, Germantown is actually just a little larger than half a square mile. Western border is Preston Street and Shelby Street, Barrett Avenue to the east, and Oak Street and Winter Avenue to the north.
That's right. North of that, it really becomes Paristown. Formerly, those areas had really been lumped together. And now as Paristown develops its own unique personality and identity, we're really considering that cutoff now to be Oak Street and Winter Avenue.
Yeah, people used to lump, a lot of those together, including Shelby Park, and Schnitzel,
and Smoketown,
and Paristown. So those neighborhoods have really found their own identity, and they're really fun. We'll get into those and some other videos, so make sure you stay tuned here. The area was actually settled originally as butcher shops and small farms in the 1870s. At the time, the area was actually nicknamed Frogtown because it was adjacent to Beargrass Creek.
The area was subdivided and developed heavily in the 1890s when the largest collection of shotgun houses in Louisville was built.
So we're going to start with some of the pros about living in Germantown. I think Germantown is kind of overall thought of as just like a very fun, funky, vibrant, although there's people from every demographic you can imagine. It generally has a youthful feeling. A lot of people there moving about Goss Avenue. There's a whole vibe there at Hawks. They have, so Hawks was an old grocery store, and it was purchased by a local investor who's done wonderful things with it and make it a kind of after a roadside attraction. He bought a couple of neighboring businesses as well. There's a breakfast food model, a pizza food model, ice cream, coffee, and to the rear of these businesses, they're all connected like a giant courtyard. So it's just really fun. And that's kind of the anchor. That Goss Avenue is kind of the commercial, Main Street or, Broadway of Germantown, you might say. So
Germantown is a really approachable neighborhood where a lot of people maybe buy their first home. And what's been really fun about Germantown is while you do see a lot of singletons that buy into Germantown or couples, they really are, the neighborhood is evolving to match growing families. So as you talk about Hawks in that complex there, they added a really cool playground. They recognize that mom and dad want to get out of the house, maybe on a nice sunny Sunday or Saturday afternoon, go post up there and have something to eat, have something to drink. And there is a really lovely, safe playground where their kids can run around with other kids as well. And the parents can sit and enjoy some time, with other adults.
Yeah, it's really great. I'm just gonna take a minute here to look down. Germantown is also home to the country's largest collection of shotgun homes. Now, shotgun homes they're skinny, they don't have a whole lot of frontage, and this is due in part to, at the time, the homes were taxed on how much frontage they had at the front of the lot. So people built these narrow homes to get by, sidestep the taxes. Also on frontage, how many stories were on the front? So we have what's called camelback. So one story at the front, then maybe they built a second story addition to the rear. Shotgun houses are very close together and have become a very iconic, archetypical identifier. Germantown. There are homes from many different schools of architecture in Germantown, but I'd say shotgun home is the most common. You'll also find the occasional arts and crafts bungalow, an occasional ranch here or there, but not very common. When arts and crafts bungalows and Cape Cods were built, construction technology had moved on a little bit more. You get more finishable basements, poured concrete foundations. They tend to be a little further apart, so there's not the issue that sometimes You run into a shotgun homes being the drainage of water between them, but really charming homes, real neighborhood feeling. It's a very warm neighborhood, feels very social, a lot of neighborhood specific events.
That's right. Some of those events would be the Schnitzelberg Walk. That is one they've been doing forever.
Oh, it's a blast.
It's really fun. So
super fun.
Yep, and it's now the Saturday after May. And it's a great time when residents come out and they walk from restaurant to restaurant and bar to bar all around Schnitzelberg and in Germantown.
All the restaurants are open, street vendors, live music on the street, and it's a real warm Americana, family-friendly feeling. We just love it.
It's like a giant neighborhood block party.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would say that description is spot on.
Yeah, and then another event that is pretty iconic for Germantown is Dainty Fest.
Oh yeah.
So this is held in July. It's an imported German game where participants that are 45 years or older hit a dainty with a broomstick. Sounds crazy. I guess it's sort of like some rendition of almost like baseball, right?
Yeah, it's like I think it might be a predecessor to baseball. I want to say, I don't think it even happens in Germany anymore. It's that old. So this dainty, it's like a little wooden shuttle. And it's kind of looked down on for you to practice during the year. You're supposed to kind of come in cold, and hundreds, it may be thousands of people gathered this time. It's a really unique and interesting event. It's right there at the corner of Goss Avenue where Hawks is. And the day it happens, you just can't miss it. Another
great event that takes place in that area, now it's actually technically in Paristown, but remember, we're really kind of considering some of these neighborhoods together, is the Fête de Noël. And this is a wonderful holiday event. They have an ice skating rink. They have
food vendors, local arts and craftsmen.
It's a great place that you can pick up gifts for people. Also, you can just go down there, take your kids, walk around a little bit. It's a nice, we've had some date nights there where we'll just walk around, the Fête de Noël and take in all of the various crafts and shops that are available.
It's a great hang.
It's a pop-up scene.
Yeah. And it's kind of meant to mimic the Christkindl markets, like the Christmas markets in Europe.
That's right.
Another one of the most popular festivals in Germantown is actually the Germantown Schnitzelberg Blues Festival, which is the first Friday and Saturday in June. And that brings out tons of people too. People in Germantown, they're ready for it. You just give them an excuse to band together.
Yeah.
Living there has a very communal feeling.
It really does.
People have a lot of neighborhood pride. And so really anything that's going to have Germantown on it, people are like, yeah, they show up, and it's a vibrant community.
That kind of brings us to the next pro, which is it's really walkable.
Totally.
And that's what helps lend itself to that block party feeling when there's events and the high traffic with the bars and restaurants in that area. It's really, really easy to walk around Germantown. Remember, it only encompasses about 0.6 square miles. So it's easy to get around Germantown, and there's sidewalks everywhere. So it's great that you can just hop out the front of your house and walk down the street, and you can be enjoying a neighborhood festival or any number of restaurants, shops, so the bars in that area as well.
There's just a grid of sidewalks to get anywhere you want. Easy to jump on a bike and hit any of the many neighboring communities, but you can get to the grocery store, little local watering holes, locally roasted coffee. It's just, the list goes on. Wonderful pizza by the slice at the Post, which we can safely put on here because that's just an institution now.
Yeah.
But as far as other shops and galleries and boutiques, there could be a rotating. Some of them make it, some of them don't. But plenty to eat, great shopping. There's a Kroger right there on the main drag. If that one's too busy, there's another one that's down the street in the neighboring. That's very tight-knit community. It feels fun, it feels funky. It's a lot of professionals, but it's also a little irreverent, and it's beloved. People in Louisville just love Germantown.
Oh. Yeah. It really has a pretty small footprint overall.
Yeah.
Germantown is about 0.6 square miles, and that coupled with the number of sidewalks makes it so easy to get around. And of course, we've talked about how Germantown has all these festivals and events, and that's what people do. They just get out of their houses and they walk down the street to any number of those events, festivals, restaurants, boutiques, galleries, you name it. But people love to just walk around Germantown. Next on our list of things that you would love about Germantown has to be the boutiques and galleries. There are a number of those that have really popped up over the years now. I would say they're predominantly on Goss Avenue in that same vector where we have talked about Hawks. And they are just really vibrant, great places to pop in and get a gift for somebody, or maybe just pick up some kind of unique and unusual art piece for your own house.
Absolutely. Our next most favorite thing about Germantown is it's just so fun and funky. Like people come from a lot of the neighboring neighborhoods, even I think from outside of the waters, and they know there's something that's going on in Germantown because it's going to have such a unique feel. It feels hometown. It feels authentic. There's a great mix of everything from indie rockers and artisans and musicians to young professionals and families and retirees and plumbers and electricians, and really it just has this really authentic feeling. So it's just fun, funky, authentic.
It's very unpretentious.
Yes, spot on. It is not pretentious. So if that's the kind of vibe that you like and you're looking for, you're going to love Germantown because it has all those things in spades.
All right, now next are a couple of things about that area. They're not really inside Germantown, but they are adjacent to Germantown, and they are a pro of living in Germantown. So we would be remiss if we didn't touch on them. Just south of Eastern Parkway is George Rogers Clark Park. Now, Germantown itself doesn't really have any large park, but George Rogers Clark Park is probably just a mile south down of Eastern Parkway, and it's a lovely bit of green space. You can just go out there and, take your dog and walk around. You can just go out and enjoy some, beautiful spring day or summer day, just sit out in the grass, maybe have a little picnic. And if you really want to have some fun, you can enjoy some of those new pickleball courts they just put in.
As well as tennis courts, and it's really known for having a great sledding hill when we do get a bit of snow. We actually had a great winter this year, and there's loads of snow. Some winters are pretty light, but when there's a good snow, there's going to be a lot of people out there sledding at George Rogers Clark Park.
Yep. And then one more benefit of living in the area, again, south of Eastern Parkway, is Audubon Country Club. So if you're looking for maybe, some more of that experience, it's a beautiful country club just a couple of miles south there of Eastern Parkway. Beautiful tree canopy there. And that country club offers golf, has a swimming pool and tennis courts as well.
And a lot of social events. And I'd say of all the Louisville-based country clubs, not that I've done a tour of all of them, I'd say overall, Audubon Country Club has a very approachable feel, and people just love it. I know people who are, I've never been a member, I've been there for special events, but it's really got a warm local feeling too.
Absolutely.
All right, you all, now, as promised, we're going to talk about some of the perceived cons. These will be to varying degrees depending on what's most important to you. So we just like to call it straight so you know what to expect when moving to Germantown. So one of the first perceived cons is home prices in Germantown. Germantown had a long history of being a real hotbed for first-time home buyers.
Right.
I remember when I first got in a couple decades ago, you could get in to a really nice starter home in Germantown, anywhere from $80,000 to $130,000. That's a really nice house. Now, that will buy you a fixer-upper.
I know.
Now prices have increased considerably. You can easily spend $250,000 to $400,000 or even more. There are some extreme cases where there's people who have gone in and found some infill lots, and there's houses selling upwards of $600,000 even $700,000 in Germantown. Now that's the rare exception.
Absolutely.
As of the time of this video. So we'll update these over the years. But prices have gone up considerably because people got priced out of the Highlands, which is right next door.
All right, well, next, remember how we talked about the fact that Germantown and those shotgun houses were built in the late 1800s. This means they're old. So rarely any kind of new construction in Germantown, and those older homes just require more updates and more maintenance. It can be an advantage if you want to maybe buy at a lower price point and want to do some of that work yourself, but those homes are older. And we both know that older homes, they maybe won't inspect as well. They have just more issues that can pop up down the line. Outdated
systems, some of the electrical will still be knob and tube. And of course, some of these houses have been, there's been tons of investors in Louisville that have also gutted plenty of these things. But if you're looking to get in at more of a first-time home buyer price point on the lower side of Germantown, you're gonna have to do some updates. Probably some older windows you're gonna want to replace, some electrical, some plumbing, maybe the roof. Furnace, maybe all the above.
Sometimes you have to put in walls because it's a shotgun, and it may not even have a central hallway and subdivided rooms. The original shotguns, you just walked through each room to this subsequent room behind it. So sometimes that work's not even been done.
Yeah, and a lot of people will use the side door as the main door. They use the front door of these shotguns as another bedroom. So sometimes they lack closet space as well, because at the time, the tax code denoted that closets could be taxed as rooms. So people had bureaus and armed warmers. So that's just one thing to consider. But again, there's plenty of these things, different price points and level of condition. That's not so good. Edit that out. We don't want to scare you away. You can find a shotgun in any condition from 1 to 10. Just what you want to see.
Yeah, another maybe disadvantage of living in Germantown is how tight together the houses are. Now, we talked about this with the Highlands pros and cons too. Those houses are also close together. It's the same thing in Germantown. Remember that these houses were built to be narrow and close together because you were taxed on frontage. So they put these houses, really close together, and you peek out your window, you might be looking at your neighbor,
They tried not to line those windows up.
Yeah.
It does happen from time to time.
Right.
Nothing a simple set of curtains or blinds can't fix.
That's true.
Now, another con to consider is if you really need a garage, it's gonna be the exception, not the rule in Germantown. Of course, there are houses that do have garages, but very rare. Almost never find an attached garage, mostly detached if you find one. There's the occasional oddity where you might see an attached garage, but that's really important. Attached garages, almost never gonna happen. So if that's something that's really important to you, we're gonna suggest maybe looking in another, probably slightly newer neighborhood. That's gonna be more common.
Yeah, those garages are often, if they are included with the house, they're going to be smaller, and they are back behind the yard. My first house was in Germantown, and it came with a garage, and that thing was so old it got condemned by the city, and I had to take it down.
And you get a bill for demolition.
Yeah, right. So we pretty much had to tear that thing down ourselves, and I just had a parking pad. But you will also sometimes now find in Germantown that's happened to somebody and they've rebuilt a garage.
Oh, yeah.
So you will sometimes find one that is a little bit better shape, but you have to go in with reasonable expectations about where you're going to park your car. A lot of street parking there.
And there are companies that specialize in the construction of 2-car center block garages, and they'll a lot of times have their own financing. There's tons of people who have built those garages as well.
All right, so next, another disadvantage or perceived disadvantage of living in Germantown can be the shotgun houses themselves, So they are a little narrower, a little bit smaller. The square footage range from 800 to
1,300.
Yeah.
You'll find the occasional one where somebody's built a big addition on the back and they'll exceed that. But in general, about 800 to 1,300 square feet.
There's some distinct realities when you consider a shotgun style house. So like we talked about, that they're going to be kind of narrow, smaller footprint. They also lack any kind of basement. I mean, forget even finding a finished basement in a shotgun. You're lucky just to get a cellar, and maybe your HVAC might be down in that cellar.
A hot water heater and furnace, just some access, and then the rest, it's usually 30% cellar, then the rest is crawl space.
Yeah, it's not a cellar that you're really gonna wanna finish out, or that you're gonna even maybe wanna use for a lot of storage. And then of course, these shotgun homes, the way they were built originally to really be a tax savings, so that they're narrow in the front, they don't have any closets. Sometimes they're really lacking a lot of storage space.
Yeah, people have retrofitted them with IKEA wardrobe units and had contractors come in and build closets. So it's very common, but it will be, you're looking at a bunch of those, it will be an issue that comes up.
Yeah, if you're somebody who really wants to have a larger home, a finished basement, you have a lot of stuff and you need a place to put that stuff, a shotgun style home may not be the right choice for you. Then maybe in Germantown, you might want to look at some of those bungalows instead.
Now, there are some contractors that have come in and built larger homes on some vacant and infill lots. But again, that's going to be the exception, not the rule. So there's going to be, we're just kind of painting in broad brushstrokes here of what Germantown's like in general.
Right.
Our next con to some of these Germantown homes is they have plaster wall. Not all of them, again, some have been renovated with drywall, but brittle, doesn't like to hold a nail very well, doesn't patch up as clean, and a little more difficult to repair. So some point they did add picture hanging railing to where they actually put a little hook over a piece of molding and hang their wall art that way, so they didn't have to put nails. But a lot of them have, over the years, over the past 100, 120 years, have had just tons of turnover with different families and renters. And so we have walls that have seen better days.
You're gonna want to use a flat finished paint in a shotgun house that has plaster, so it helps conceal some of those bumps and lumps that occur when, the plaster's been maybe patched over the years, where somebody tried to hang up something, a little chunk fell out, they patch it.
Again, though, with rising home values, since prices have gone up so much, it really has incentivized homeowners and contractors to take the old lav and plaster out and put drywall and add closets and private bedrooms. So take care of some of these things. But from time to time, if you're really looking heavily in Germantown, it will be an issue.
And then last, we would talk about systems. With older homes, sometimes come outdated and older systems. So you're talking about HVAC, water heaters, the electrical, and the plumbing. You know, you talked about the old knob and tube electricity, and then sometimes you have old copper pipes, lead pipes that just make those homes a little more dated. So when you do have to go maybe make a renovation, you might have to do your entire system.
Yeah. We have home inspectors and contractors who specialize in these historic homes and really know what to look out for to help protect you. So don't let that deter you. If the neighborhood sounds fun, like it's a fit in general, we'd be happy to guide you on finding a great home in Germantown. We'd love to help you love living there.
And you know, we'll never let you buy something that we wouldn't buy with our own money.
Yeah, our ethos and motto is the golden rule of the bluegrass. We always consult the numbers, and if the numbers don't make sense, we'll tell you.
All right, everybody, that's a wrap on Germantown. We've touched on what we find are the pros and cons of this wonderful, vibrant neighborhood here in Louisville, but we'd love to hear from you as well. So be sure to drop a comment below. Tell us what we missed. What do you love about Germantown, or what do you wish was a little bit different about that great neighborhood?
Yeah, there's no way we can catch it all in this video. So if you're considering buying or selling or moving within Louisville, give us a shout. We'd love to talk to you about your next move. All of our contact information is in the description below.
Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or our favorite, schedule a Google Meet.
That's all for now, y'all. We look forward to working with you. In the meantime, make it a great day.